So we have an interesting question this week, and it's kind of a personal one. And it's interesting because this is a new season and we've been out of your ears for about a year, and we are what we ended on a year ago was kind of what we were doing and what was coming up. And even in that year since we declared what was next, a lot has changed. So this question is, what's the most significant way in which your business has shifted over the last 5 years? So there've been some big shifts for both of us. And since I read, I get to throw it to you first. So what do you got to say?
It's such a good question. And we have actually recorded one episode for the start of this season where we dive into a lot of detail about what our businesses both look like now. But I think for me, it's so interesting actually to consider this question because what I've noticed is even though I think from the outside, my business has changed significantly in the last 5 years, the skills that I'm using are actually exactly the same. I think the shift for me has been in how I package them up to be of value to other people. So I think, as most of you know, and if you don't know, you're going to hear me talk about it just briefly, but I started this business as a copywriter and I niched into launch copy and strategy pretty quickly. It was great work. I was really good at it. I then had two kids, and my capacity and availability and amount of reliable capacity and availability shifted significantly, right? And I think anyone who's a parent will know that. So therefore, I shifted the way I package up my services to really better support the phase of life that I'm in. I had a smaller change between the two kids where I was still doing copy via half day rates and also doing coaching and strategy work. But since coming back from leave after having my second kid, I've actually switched up the whole thing. So now I'm bringing those same skills from my copywriting experience and also from my previous career as a therapist into helping business owners really ace all points of communication right across their businesses, whether that is through their copy, so on their websites, in their emails, on socials, etc., or through verbal conversations, so in podcasts, on a stage, in voice of customer interviews, whatever that looks like. So, like I said at the start, same skills, just very different packaging. So I think that has been the most significant shift. And now the bulk of my revenue comes from one offer, which can I say is such a good feeling. It feels so streamlined. So yeah, that's for me. But what about for you, Amy? Sorry, that was such a long response.
No, no, it actually wasn't, considering we're talking about 5 years. What I'm doing has not changed that significantly. I was looking back at this because I thought I'd been running masterminds for about 5 years, and I was like, have I really? And I have, in fact. So my work shifted to primarily coaching about 5 years ago. Before that, I was doing some coaching. I was teaching copy. I was still writing copy for clients, which I haven't done in 5 years. And so I was running serial mastermind, serial meaning back to back fixed date groups, right? So I was running one, I'd run a group for 6 months, and then that would end, and I'd run another group for 6 months. And I did those back to back for years. And I was also working with clients one on one on an ongoing basis. I also had a coaching on demand service, so I would see people periodically. And throughout that entire time, I've also had some copy chiefing clients. So I have some copywriters who come to me and bring me work before they show it to their clients, or come to me periodically if they have something big or they have something new, or they just want more eyeballs or second eyeballs, or they want reassurance about what they've done. So I've had that work weaving throughout. And overlapping with that was I really wanted to create a course and sell a course. And I created a course 3 times. The third time was the charm. It was really hard for me to get what I know and what I do pretty well, really well now, in fact, I think, out into this sort of linear, digestible package. And I did the first 2 things I created, I just wasn't proud enough of to market. The third one was, but then I got into this like, oh shit, marketing this is really different than anything I've done before. And I was not prepared for that. And so I kept talking about like wanting to crack the code and how am I going to do this? And I'm at a point where I finally have figured out how to do it. It's really iterated and evolved because it's not at all what I pictured when I put any of this together. But I think significantly, two significant things that have changed for me. So I still love the coaching work and I still love running the masterminds, but I realized at some point that having this fixed window of time was disadvantageous to me because it was like I was putting myself out of business every 6 months. And I would have people who would continue. I had people who would do, be in a mastermind and stay in the next and stay in the next and stay in the next. And I thought, okay, why don't I set it up so that people can stay as long as they want? And so that it's not such a fixed thing. Because I mean, what would happen is we'd be 3 months into it and someone would say, oh, I'm really interested in this. And I'd be like, see you in 3 months, see you in 4 months. This is like, well, let's figure out if you're a fit for the group and how to integrate you. And that's, I've only been doing that since April, I think, was when we started this first group. And so it's been a little bit of an experiment, but how do you do that? How do you integrate somebody into an existing group? It's worked great so far. And then I've been wanting for a long time, and it's sort of a parallel almost with this website. I've been wanting to have a membership where it's all digital. There's no meetings. It's all Slack based, and I answer questions. And so I started that this year too. And it's really starting to gain some momentum and have some interesting life of its own. And I'm really excited about it. I love it. It's just, I love it. It's like, I always wanted, years ago, I wanted to have my own restaurant and bar. And then I decided I did not want to be in that business at all, but this is my digital version of that. Like I can just belly up to the bar and answer questions and visit with people and I can leave and go home when I'm done. So I've got these two things going. And in the interim, I feel like I've cracked the code on selling things because the other significant thing that's happened for me is I've had a lot of loss and a lot of grief over a 2 year period. And it just like, it really incapacitated me for periods of time. And this idea of passive income became more important because it's like, oh shit, like what if I like A can't show up and B, what if I don't want to show up? And the other thing that happened for me through that process was I lost a lot of focus. And I lost my ability to keep appointments, or like could keep appointments. So I lost my ability to schedule, and I was like, "Oh shit, am I ever going to get this back?" I mean, I would like show up for like a doctor's appointment, the day before or an hour early, or be like, oh, okay. Like I looked at my calendar. It was weird. Anyway, but all of these things have come back, fortunately, and I have sort of like zest again and like interest in what I'm doing. But at the same time, I feel like I've figured out what actually makes sense for me. So I'm in a good place. I mean, I'm in a better place, I think, than I've been in a number of years, mostly because of all of that. And you think you had a long-winded answer. I beat you. I think I beat you by, 2 times or 3 times. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yours was far more interesting. So I love that yours was the longer answer. And can I just say, I don't know if I've shared this with you, Amy, but I have been just loving the emails you've sent the last maybe 8 or 9 weeks because I can feel that you're back through your coffee. I'm like, there she is. There's P Dog. It just feels like you're just like back in the zone.
I no kidding, I mean, I've got someone who works with me and does marketing, and I was kind of like, "Oh my God, can you just drive? Like, please drive it." And it wasn't working. And it was funny. You said to me, your problem, because I did a thing and it fell flat. And you said to me, it was just like if you're selling you, it had like everything you say has to be dripping with Eunice. And I said that to someone, and they're like, "Who's Eunice?" And that's become a joke between us now. But I just like it wasn't, and I wanted somebody else to do it. And it was like, please, like just like you steer, you drive. And I noticed like in recent weeks, I'm like, oh no, things like that they were telling me before, and I was like, oh, okay. And now I'm like, oh no, 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 just stop right there. No, we're doing it like this. And I'm like, oh, I'm back. Like sit back,
Yes.
blowing you back in your seat, kind of. Feels
I
good.
love this.
Yeah.
So good.
So that's what we've got. If anybody has any like further questions for us, I mean, I think that's it. I wanted though, Kirsty, I wanted like coming back to you. It's interesting because you said that you're bringing the same things to these new offerings. I think you're also integrating. It feels like more of everything that you are. Do you
Yeah.
know? Like it feels like it's not so Kirsty the this or Kirsty the that, where you bring some of the other things to bear. It feels like a much more sort of holistic picture of all the things that you've been and done and know, and like all your skills and experience. And like you've found the thing that sort of wraps around all of it. So it's all in like one container, for lack of a better word, So
Yeah.
and it's really good. I think it's like so great to see that for you. It's just like there's an ease in that, but also like a a comfort in like your expertise and like bringing that all to bear in a place that works for you, which I think is, I don't know if you would say that or had said that, but that's something that I see that I think is just really lovely.
Well, thank you. And yeah, it really feels like that. Someone else was asking me about it a while ago, and I think my response was it actually just feels like coming home. Like I found a way to just like, yeah, this is what I have to offer. These are my skills, my expertise. Have at it, basically, rather than trying to niche myself down into just writing good copy. Like, just because you can do something well, it doesn't mean that's all you can do. But I think it's more just about bringing a lot of that to the fore too, because I think a lot of my therapy skills and therapeutic background was really evident in the work that I was doing. I just wasn't positioning it as a key part of that work, even though so much of my feedback from my clients was always like, wow, you're like a business therapist, or like, so that kind of stuff. So thank you for that. I just feel like, yeah, it's so nice. I love you, P Dog. Everyone can feel the love in the room here.
Well, I'll say one more thing and we'll wrap this up and move on to other people and their questions. But well, this is someone's question, but I mean, less about us. I just flashed on sitting on that balcony with you in Mexico, and we were like, how do you incorporate therapy? Like, what does business therapy look like, and what's the need? And like who knew the whole world was going to blow up and people would need way more than they needed, but at that time. But I just remember, us having that conversation and kind of that light bulb moment that could be a thing, that it could be some way that you could bring your, all your skills to bear. And here you are.
I know. I'm sorry, I just saw Jin's question. Jin's asked, may I ask the one package you offer now? How do I frame it? So yeah, thanks, Mish. It's Comms Camp, which is, I probably should have chosen a better name because people hear comms and they think of like, marketing comms. But it really is bringing all of those skills together so that you can really communicate super effectively in your business, whether that's with your prospects, your clients, your customers, team members, yourself, obviously, really key stakeholder in your business, and bringing all of that to it. And there's actually one component there that probably ties in with what you were just saying, Amy, and that's a group therapy. So every month in the high touch version of camp, there's a group therapy session where we really do dive into the shared experience and like the murkier themes, like people pleasing or, getting in your own way, like things like that, where there's dedicated time to actually unpack that very human experience that is part and parcel of being in business, that I think is actually, yeah, such a nice way to sort of meld the two worlds of business and therapy. So yeah.
Interesting. And I feel like sometimes like on my mastermind, I feel like that's what we do. I mean, it's not well, I was gonna say it's not so topical, but sometimes it is. But let's like get real about like how hard this is and what it really takes and all of those things. And as someone who's a shitty namer, taglines are everything. Comscam, tag dot 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 dot.
Yes,
Tell them
I
what it
should
is.
do that. But I don't feel like you're a shitty namer. Your things have cool names.
Oh, oh my God. Thank you.
They do.
Oh, I have a whole series of things that I just like, yeah, no, I don't love them. The product names,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
coaching
you love
names
the
I've
products.
I've always liked, but yeah, no, yeah, anyway. Okay, enough about us.
Let's wrap that one up there. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that there was something useful in there for you. If you do have a question that you would like us to dive into in a future episode, head on over to businessbadass.co.
Thanks for being here. Bye for now.